Hi, Professor.
Hi, how are you?
Good.
Just getting sorted out here and ready to roll with this one. Gonna try this problem from an old exam. Is this the fall 20 exam? Don't worry, I'm coming back. I'm just moving my chair out of the way here.
I believe so.
Okay. Fall 20, part 3, and then this is a nomenclature part clearly. And the next part, the short answer that we're going to do in the same segment where we have to draw all stereoisomers, is also highly nomenclature dependent. So we had a request for small letters III, a bicyclo, and another bicyclo. I think your interest was mostly in the stereo centers, but always good to practice bicyclos. We'll do the first one starting here. Need a pen. Hot pink. Down here. We have an 862 bicyclo system with a double bond between 12 and 13. So we're going to start with our famous two dots. Dot number 1, dot number 2, and then we'll go 862. 8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And a bent line at the end. I can live with a bent line, but I don't have to. Here we go, straight line. There. Verifying 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And we need a 6. You can put it in the middle or on the top. It's up to you. You can go on the top. Why not? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then in the middle or on the outside, need 2. So big, long 1, 2, and then over there. And if you want to make sure that the instructor knows that that's a carbon there's just a little bend. It doesn't look much like a carbon, but if you put a dot there, that makes sure it's a carbon. It doesn't have to be a bridgehead. It isn't. It's in the 2 bridgehead. The 2 bridgeheads are in black. All right, we got the 862 figured out. You decide which of the dots, the black dots, is 1. And I don't know, we'll start over here on the right. 1, and that means this one over here is 10. Because it goes 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7, 8, 9, 10. We have a group, double bond on 12. 11 has to be here. 11, 12. We'll draw the double bond. Keep in mind, issues of geometry mean it might not look great after we have to make sure it's Z. That's the double bond to 12 and 13. 13, we have an allele on it. The question is, do we draw the allele up here, which would be Z, or do we draw it down here to make it E to this position here? And the answer is we want Z. So an allele group is a propenyl. It's important to know where the N, the EN is. I think I drew 3 carbons. 1, 2, 3. And we need the double bond on the last 2 carbons in the group. That's the only allele group that we know. And I don't know. I want to make sure it starts on a C. I want it to look nice. Make sure it goes to that carbon down there. Yeah, that's better. And that's Z, because the high priority group on this side of the double bond is here. Unless we have some interesting stuff down here, and I don't think the name says anything interesting there. So that is Z. Number 1 up here, number 1 up here. The 2s are here and here. 10's a stereo center with a phenyl on it. On every test, then a nomenclature question, you have to draw the whole phenyl group. This is never going to change. So if you draw pH, you're going to lose a half point. It's a guarantee. Yes, it's a short form. It says no short forms. And I shouldn't have to say short forms. You're not allowed to use short forms on nomenclature. Phenyl I was trying to move my molecule so I had a little more room to draw it. But there's a phenyl. It's a cyclohexyl to start, but then it has double bonds alternating double, single, double, single, double. There you go. There's a phenyl on 10. We have to have another allele on 1. That's over here. Same as the allele I drew before. 1, 2, 3, double bond there. Phenyl, got it. 18 phenylmethylene. Where the heck is 18? Well, this is 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. So what do you draw first when you have a group in parentheses? You draw the end part first, methylene. That's a double bond off my green dot there. That's 18. There's a phenyl on it. Well, you can't put a phenyl here. That'd be an octet violation. It's got to be here. Does he have room to draw a phenyl? That's the question now. Yeah, I do if I draw it like over here. Now, I could have made it even an more interesting problem. This is the E version of this group. If the phenyl was on the left, it would have been Z, but you don't have any information about E or Z over here. So, and I won't do it to you on your test either, so don't worry about it. I think we have all the groups. Last thing to do would be the two stereocenters. We need an S on 1, which is over here, and we need an S on 10. One at a time, everybody. The priorities go on 1. We'll start with 1. Do the priorities in baby blue over here. I have a 1 for a CH2 that goes to a C that has 2 more bonds to C. The other 3 CH, oh, no, I did it again. Sometimes I don't look far enough myself. I saw the C double C here, and then I didn't realize there's a C double C here, the same distance away. This one's better because this C double C has a group on the end. This C double C, that's the same distance away, does not have a group on the end. That makes my original 1 into a 2. Let me get the color already. 2. And this would be the 1. And the 3 is here because it's a bunch of CH2s that hit something earlier than this bunch of CH2s. That's a pretty good way to summarize it when it's just a bunch of CH2s. CH2 once, twice, 3 times, then a C with nothing but C. CH2 once, twice, 3 times, then a C that has only 1 bond to C. The first H loses here to any of the other bonds to C here. So there we go. Were we lucky? Is 1, 2, 3 already counterclockwise, which would be S? Answer is yes. When you're lucky, you put the 4 on a dash and an adjacent bond on a wedge. When you're unlucky and it doesn't give you the answer, it's just as easy. You put the 4 on a wedge and an adjacent bond, any of them that's adjacent, make that a dash. It covers every stereocenter you ever draw. It's just a great system. I mean, it's simple. It's not great. It's just simple. Which C has the higher priority here? They're both C's with nothing but bonds to C. This is a tricky stereocenter I'm seeing right now. A C with 3 more bonds to C and a C with 3 more bonds to C. The question is, when you get to the next C, what do you got? An H. When you get to this next C, what do you got? An H. I shouldn't be comparing the H's. I should be comparing the high priority thing as a C, and that ties this C. And then they both compare the H, which is here. So they're still tied. So we got to go to the next C in the highest priority area. So we're going away. We've already decided to go that way. Well, this C has 1 more bond to C and an H. This C has 1 more bond to C and an H. We said that. But the next C here has an H and the next C here does not. So this C, the same distance away from this C, from the stereocenter, this C is a winner. So we have a 1 up there. And like I've said before, sometimes the stereocenters are you know, they take so much time. You got to ask yourself the question, is it worth the 0.75? You got a 50-50 chance. Just talking about options for you here. 3 and 4. And 1, 2, 3 is currently R. We were unlucky. We're not even sad about it. When your connection creates clockwise and you needed a counterclockwise on 10, put the 4 on a wedge. And put an adjacent bond on a dash. You want the bond to the phenyl to be a dash? There it is. It's adjacent. And you're done. Yeah, it takes a while, these nomenclature questions. So I think I will split this to 2 segments. We'll finish this one in our first segment, and then we'll go to a little preview here. We're going to, same exam, draw all possible stereoisomers of 1,3-di-2,2 dibromo vinyl 1-cyclopropyl cyclopentane. That'll be our second segment. Okay, next example. We've got our dots. They're these carbons here, this one here, and this one here. One of them has to be number 1. Well, they both have a group on them, but that's not even important right here. Forget there's groups on them. The most important thing to keep on the lowest possible number is this double bond. So you're saying, oh, that's easy. I'll make this number 1. Uh-oh, you just made a mistake. Yeah, you made a mistake because this wouldn't be 2. You've also got to remember the bicyclo rules that are inviolate. That means you cannot violate them. You must count the biggest bridge first. This bridge size down here is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and this one here is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. You've got to go to the 7, which means you're choosing this to be 1 so that you can hit that double bond sooner rather than later. That's 9, that's 8. And your double bond will be 11 this way. If you had gone the other way, it would have gone 1 to 9, and then your double bond doesn't start to 10, 11, 12. 12 is a larger number than 11. You picked the wrong direction. You lose a quarter point. It's a quarter point. It's not the end of the world. Here we go. Pen size, a little wide. Makes it look interesting. Okay, we have groups on 9, and I might as well put the 10 up there. 11, sorry, the 12 up there. We have a group on 9 and 12 that's the same group. You're saying, wait, they don't look the same. They are. That's a C with 1 H and then a CH2. That's a C with 1 H and a CH2. They're both vinyls. Nine, 12 divinyl is going to go late in the name of groups. What other group do we have? Well, we have a methyl with 2 fluorines on it. That's difluoromethyl, starts with F. 1-difluoromethyl. And on number 7, we have a methylene. Oops. Sorry about that. Unnecessary sound effects, I'm sorry. 1-difluoromethyl covers this. 7-methylene covers that. 9,12-divinyl has this vinyl and this vinyl. And we can put the bicyclo part of the name here. And we had a 7 bridge and a 5 bridge and a 1 bridge right here in the middle. 7 plus 5 plus 1, 13 plus 2, 15. 15 is pentadec. There's a double bond between 11 and 12. 11 ene. all that work, and you still have only about half credit, almost half the credit. What? Doesn't seem fair. Well, that's how important stereochemistry is and double bond geometry. Very important. Life depends on importance sometimes. Stereocenter on 1, stereocenter on 9, double bond with geometry on 11. Stereocenter on 1, stereocenter on 9, double bond with geometry on 11. Each one is its own separate problem. Stereocenter 1 is where we'll start. It has 4 carbons on it. The heaviest thing on any of the carbons is the fluorine. We'll put a 1 up there with the carbon that has the 2 fluorines. A 2 for a carbon that goes to a branched carbon that has nothing but carbon, compared to a 3 that goes to a CH2 that has a CH2, then some stuff. And that's always going to beat something that has more CH2s before some stuff. You got some slack here. The 4 is already on a dash. Stereocenter 1 is S. Moving on to stereocenter 9 with orange. Let's see, a vinyl group has a C with 2 more bonds to C. A CH2 that hits a C with nothing but C is going to beat a CH2 that beats a C with 2 more bonds to C and a bond to H. The H loses to the third of the bonds to C here. So 2 is up here. 3 is here. Oh, we never even considered this one. Wow, this is another tough one. Yeah, this is the tough one. This is a tougher one than the last one. Let's see. What do we got? I think I still like my, well, do I like my 2? Not here anymore. I don't know. CH2, C with nothing but C. CH2, C with nothing but C. Now let's look at the C's. There's 3 C's, a C with 2 H's, then a C with 2 H's. Treat them as like separate C's. Then a third C with 2 H's. We're comparing this position here to this position here. We have our winner when we get to a C that has an F. Because none of these C's, these 3 bonds to C here, none of those had a bond to anything higher than C. F is higher than C. So I like my 2 over here. And then the 3 for the reasons we discussed earlier here. And the 4 here. Trickiest stereocenter today. And just to add insult to injury, as the saying goes, you have to do a double switch when the 4 is not on a wedge or a dash. That is when you need to do a double switch. Don't ask me that question anymore. You need to do a double switch when the number 4 group is not on a wedge or on a dash. This is one of those circumstances. Find the 4, put it on the dash. 4 is now on the dash. You did a single switch with the 2. You must also switch the other 2 groups or you will have the wrong answer. Switch 1 and 3. 3 ends up here. 1 ends up here. 1, 2, 3 is clockwise in this, and the 4 is on a dash, so clockwise is the answer, and 9 is R. Double bond with geometry on 11. I'll do the whole thing here since, spending some time down here. You're supposed to cut double bond in half. And then you're supposed to put on a missing H if there is one, and there is. And the priorities on the top half of that cut were a 1. I don't know, put it in a triangle. And a 2. And over here, 2 for H and a 1 for a carbon. And 1s are on the same side. 11 is Z. A lot of work for 4 points, I got to admit. Nomenclature is always that way. I'll save that. I'm going to come back with our draw all possible stereoisomers question. And I'll
Professor.
see you then after I talk to this young gentleman here. Yes.
So for the stereo center on R,
Which one?
why exactly
The
would the
9?
yeah for
Yeah.
yeah. So how come even though the top one like on the 2, that even though it's connected to the fluorine, why would that still
Wait a
lose
minute.
again?
This one up here? Why does that
Yeah,
lose? Oh, because I
to the
wrote them backwards. I actually I think if we go back in the video, I liked the fluorine as the winner,
yeah.
but I
So
didn't write what I just said. My answer doesn't reflect what I just said. I just see that's why it's good to have somebody paying attention. Thank you. Yeah,
yeah,
that changes our answer. And it'll be pretty clear because we're wiping out our green out too. Yeah, we got up to the fluorine and we were comparing the heaviest thing on this C compared to the heaviest thing on any of these 3 bonds to C, and then none of those has a fluorine to match. So the 2 was up here. It's gonna change. Oh no, I got more whiteout. Pen, green, no orange. 2's here, 3's here, and that means the double switch. We got to be careful here. 4 didn't switch with 3. 4 switched with 2. Sorry, 4 switched with 3. And this is going to take a second here, isn't it? 4 has to switch. 4 has to switch with 3. 4, 3. Yeah, I know I got a 3 there already, but it's wrong. That means you got to switch the other 2. The other 2 were 1 and 2. So that's a 2. And did we get the same answer coincidentally? I don't think so. We have an S orange stereo center. Yes. Caught in the nick of time. There we go. Now I think we're good.
yeah.
All right. Now I'll come back. I'll be back in a few minutes.
Yep.
All right.